Yeah. Welcome back. Random show. We're back with your host, Agostino Zinga. Hopefully things are working as they should be now. Unfortunately, because I wasted so much time, I won't be able to hang out with you guys for as long as I intended to be. So today's show will be a quick, sharp, short one. I do apologize for the time I had wasted beforehand. If you listen to this after the fact, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But time has been wasted on my end because I don't know how to use OBS properly. Yay! But hey, the less said about that, the better. We move. Let's get into the mood for this quick, sharp, random show with some meditation music. Praying for all my enemies. Praying for all my fallen soldiers and enemies. All the friends that don't want to be our friends. All the haters. All the trolls. Praying for everybody. Anyway, enough of that shit. Welcome back to the random show. Hope you are all good. Hope you are all feeling blessed. And again, as I said, apologies for the delay. It's all my fault. So, as I said previously, I can't stay for too long because it's super late here, but we're going to smash through all the topics I want to speak about as fast as we can. And if we don't smash them through, then I'll do an extra long one in the next couple of days so that we can catch up on all this stuff because there's so much to catch up on. So again, apologies on my end for the delay. As I was saying before I left you guys, some guy within CENAT'S group of friends was accused of the R word. He was cancelled for a short period of time. They tried to cancel Kai because it was his friend, and now this friend has come out all guns blazing and decided to share some footage that he recorded whilst he was in the act with said young lady that disproves her narrative, as Brendan Schaub would say, that she was R-worded. Now, my question is, as a man in today's society, if you're a prominent figure, even if you're associated with somebody prominent and you're not that popular yourself, doesn't matter. In today's era, in today's society, is it more important that you prove yourself to be innocent in the court of public opinion or in the court of law? And would you do exactly the same thing as this guy did? I'm not going to play the clip so you can see it, but you're going to hear what he's saying as he narrates through his own adult act.
I'm going to blur it out. I'm going to slow it down because I don't want this to be used as no type of porn. I'm just simply trying to prove my point. As you all could see, I'm in a back shots position. I'm not forcing anything. It's literally being thrown at me. My hands are not pinning her down. They're up. She has more time and opportunity to get up. Her knees are also bent on the bed. We're on the same level. I'm not forcing anything. Her hands are straight forward and boom. She's not sleeping. She said I was on top of her when she woke up. That's a lie. The facts is right there.
So, what do you think about that? It's kind of crass. It's highly illegal. Very creepy, very sus, because I'm assuming maybe she didn't have knowledge of the video. Maybe she was too drunk to remember. Who knows? But if you're a dude, do you think this is within your... do you think this was within your rights to do? To record such a video to make sure that you can defend yourself in the court of public opinion, which is usually more important than the court of law? Especially when it comes to, things concerning sexual assault and abuse and stuff, because usually those are really low to get. There's a really low conviction rate when it comes to sexual assaults and stuff, which is really bad, right? In itself, it's super disconcerting and very, very depressing. that the flipping conviction rates are in, if I'm not mistaken, the single digits, if not the low double digits. So if that's the case, and you actually do want to make sure that just because somebody said you could not be charged in the court of law, that people don't get the weird idea, you then go out and say, you know what, I'm going to give you a video. I'm going to give you a sex tape so that you can see that this was consensual. Is that right? Is that just? Is that a bit sussy? I don't know. I don't know. Personally, for me, I'm a big on personal accountability. I'm big on extreme ownership. So if that's me, and I was giving myself, or I was asking myself that question, I would say I'd rather make sure that I'm picking people to hang out with, to hook up with, or whatever it may be, who are somewhat sensible and aren't crazy, so that I don't have to put myself in that position. I think the onus is on me. The onus is on me to make sure that I'm fully vetting who I'm speaking to make sure that they're not psycho enough that they would go and try and ruin my life over a false allegation. Or I'd make sure that I'm not putting myself in a position where I could potentially be accused of any of that sort of nonsense. Whatever I can do to mitigate those circumstances, I will do. But I'm not installing CCTV in my bedroom. That's extreme. Personally, for me, that's extreme. But hey, what do I know? Next on the list, talking about extreme, we have to of course mention the wonderful Ice Spice has now been featured on Skims. Now it's all making sense why she decided to do that little pop-up and hang out with flipping Northwest, right? This is a really good play. Whoever's handling Ice Spice's flipping marketing, branding, collaboration, sponsorships is doing a really good job. She's been able to, I think, marry the balance between ratchet hood shit and also highbrow, kind of commercial, fashiony type of stuff, which usually doesn't blend the greatest, but she's been able to tether that line really well. One time you might see her in Paris Fashion Week, next time you might see her somewhere in some strip club throwing money, acting ratchet, doing what she does, but it's done with a hint of panache, a hint of style, and I feel this is a good combination of it. It features Ice Spice wearing Kim Kardashian's Skim line, starring in the lookbook, looking absolutely dazzling. Let's see what she sounds like. What's she saying here?
To me is confidence.
This is kind of making me want to wear clothes that I haven't tried before. Everything feels like snug. I feel good.
Beautiful.
I'm very comfortable. My name is Pink Pantheress.
I'm Nessa Barrett.
My name is Ray.
And I'm wearing the Everyday Sculpt bodysuit.
I'm wearing the sculpting catsuit.
And I'm wearing the sculpting bodysuit. Everybody's wearing Skims.
Yeah, definitely everyone's wearing Skims. But yeah, big up everybody wearing Skims. You know what's funny about Skims? I feel like over time, it started off being like a thing to kind of like conceal people's fatness. Like if you had a couple of rolls, a bit of a belly you didn't want to protrude out, you'd put Skims on as a way to kind of flatten and kind of make stuff look a little bit more quote unquote aesthetically pleasing. But I feel like over time it's now turned into like just comfort wear, as opposed to like, oh, let's make you look snatched, which is kind of a good pivot. I like that pivot. Right? Let's just make you feel comfortable and feel sexy in this type of clothing that usually I'm assuming women with a lot of, you know, insecurities maybe wouldn't have felt sexy in these type of things. And let's actually make it look good also. And of course, in the process, you know, be able to platform and promote and put on display all these women for all these different shapes and sizes, different races and creeds, and without it coming across a little bit too try-hardy or United Colors of Benetton. I could literally watch this on loop, but we have to keep it moving. Next, of course, we got Ice Spice again, featured in a bit of a lingerie, Skims wear, whatever you want to call it, and a little bit more also. Looking very, very delightful, eh? Look at that. Look how shiny her legs are, right? You could eat a couple of meals off of that, mate. You could eat a couple of meals off of that. So big up Ice Spice, big up Kim. That looks great. We love to see it. We love to see it. Want to quickly mention, of course, this stuff also concerning DJ AKADEMIKS. I'm sure most of you guys have seen it. I've obscured the most egregious pictures on this grid, but if you're not familiar, if you're not aware, DJ AKADEMIKS got semi-cancelled or exposed by his ex-girlfriend, who he had been in a long-term relationship with, unbeknownst to I think most of his fans. The same girl who he was screaming at, actually. I don't know if you guys remember, but DJ AKADEMIKS was involved in this thing where he was screaming at this woman, I'm the prize, right? Do you remember? I think it's the same woman, basically. So the same woman in this video, This one, yeah, the same woman. That's just shorts. I want to see just a normal video. It's not short. Someone give me the video. It's not short, please. Is that possible? Shorts are fucking annoying. Anyway, okay, let's just check the short out. So this is from this video. I think it happened during the time that he went to go film with Fresh and Fit. He got into some sort of altercation with one of the girls that he was with. At the time, everyone thought it was just another hussy that he was hanging out with, but clearly they were in a romantic relationship and they were having some sort of lover's tiff there. I'm not too sure who the bigger girl is, who was trying to basically have AKADEMIKS back, but it wasn't a good look for him at the time. It kind of looked a bit crazy, but I'll play the video so you can hear what he was saying. But the famous line is, "I'm the prize."
Ain't no nigga ain't got no more money than me. I gotta respect the game, nigga. Here is that. You stop this shit with my fuck head. I'm the nigga. Y'all niggas coming in there and shit nigga like me, bro. That shit too. Oh, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it, nigga. When I'm nigga ain't no shit happening on this nigga.
Anyway, he's screaming, he's shouting, he's screaming, "I'm the prize." His voice is incredibly high pitched. There's a lady here with red hair who's trying to jump in and she's saying period and encouraging him and shit like a cheerleader. It's legitimately one of the most embarrassing things I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, honestly, so embarrassing for somebody that purports to be an alpha male, an apex predator, flipping human being, whatever it may be, or man, to be in a situation where you're screaming and shouting at your supposed girlfriend in public like this, getting, so I wouldn't say physical, but you're getting, you look like you're about to snap at any way, shape or form, is really unbecoming and not really something that you would maybe ascribe to a gentleman, especially not somebody who thinks themselves as to be some sort of ladies man, whatever it may be. So it really did look really bad on him in that regard. But this is made worse now because of this exposure, because that girl is the girl allegedly in these pictures who leaked all these pictures, I think via AKADEMIKS' Discord. Now we're finding out that AKADEMIKS gave her access to the Discord. He gave her access to the YouTube, so she was able to change the banner on his picture, and she changed it to one of the pictures here featured in his grid. And in the grid, I'll just describe it to you. There's a picture here in the top left that looks like I guess it was a picture of an ultrasound to show that the woman was pregnant at one point. There's a picture here of some blood on a leg, it looks like, or an arm. There's a picture here again with some scratches on someone's neck. I'm assuming it's a girl. There's a picture here of a capsule of pills with DJ AKADEMIKS' government name on there, and it's for a prescription called, or a pill called doxycycline, which I've been told online, no, which I've Googled actually, isn't for what people think it was. It's not for herpes. It's for something else. I think it's a skin condition or something, but everyone's describing it to be herpes. And in the pictures that I've blocked out, in one of these pictures I blocked out, or two of these pictures, one of them features a picture of the young lady allegedly in the video pleasuring flipping AKADEMIKS, as we can say, but the picture is really weird and crass because she looks like she's got a black eye. So I'm not too sure if it happened during the act, if that's what they love to do, rough play, or shed it beforehand or whatever, but it looks horrible. Like, and then there's another picture also featuring AKADEMIKS, what looks like his hand, doing some other stuff with the young lady, and it's not the most pleasing picture. And then there's a picture also of his of his driving license, and I guess people have been criticizing that because I think it shows his actual real date of birth, so he's a lot older than what he says he is. And the other picture, which is the last one, is a picture taken from AKADEMIKS' surveillance camera that shows him hanging out with another lady that isn't the lady who's obviously exposing him. Now, all of this is hilarious because of how Ak talks about women, number one, and of course how he judges other people in their relationships, being a streamer and a bit of a loudmouth and an overall hip-hop personality and whatnot. It's just kind of funny that all the stuff that he criticizes other people to do, he's kind of doing it in his own way, in his own relationship. But the funny thing, I think more so, is that he seems to have a thing for really ratchet hood girls, like a particular type of like Latino, wherever it may be. Like, he seems to have that kind of, that seems to be his thing. But from what I understand, looking from the outside in, those American girls who come from that community, they are flipping sharks. They know what they're doing. They're actually, they're G's when it comes to the situation. So I've got a feeling that those girls are actually playing him. He doesn't understand it. He thinks he's getting the most out of it, but they're actually the ones playing him for whatever material goods he's able to offer them, homes, roof over their heads, flights, whatever else. But he thinks he's getting the most out of it. But I think they're getting way more out of it because they are absolute killers. So the fact that he's attracted to these girls who are kind of fleecing him and kind of running his pockets in a weird way is absolutely hilarious. But it also kind of speaks to the idea that with guys, right, it's really difficult, I feel like, to kind of make up for like the times when you grew up not being maybe the coolest, maybe looked at as being a bit corny and be looked at as a bit lame. I think most women can smell it on a guy. If a guy's got a lot of money but they didn't get a lot of girls when they were growing up and they're just kind of getting girls with money, I think women can smell it probably more so than guys can smell it on other guys. I think women have a better radar, and the ones who are very finally attuned at sniffing those guys out are the ones that run their pockets. So I think he's been a walking lick and a walking simp in a weird way for the majority of his life, even though he has money. So it kind of shows you with dudes, unless you really do the work internally and somewhat physically to change your appearance in some meaningful way, you really are kind of limited and capped at the kind of women you can attract. There's only so many, like there's probably not enough hot girls out there that are willing to sleep with somebody that as fat and as ugly as AKADEMIKS, even though he's super rich. They're just never going to do it. They'd rather just, you know, sleep with the skateboarder that's got no money but looks way better, sort of thing. So he's kind of in that weird situation when it comes to this. But it is incredibly embarrassing, I think, for the most part, just for him as a brand overall. Is it going to damage his flipping career? Obviously not. But it's just an embarrassing kind of L to take because she exposed him in the worst way possible and kind of made him out to be look a little bit grosser and a bit weirder than he is. I'm sure he could explain every single square here. I'm sure it's not that crazy. But it does make him look flipping suspect as fuck. But his inability to accept the L is also the weird thing. I saw him be on, he was on stream earlier today for like 5 hours. Most of it speaking about everything, trying to defend himself. I think part of the comment was like, oh, I was in love. And when you're in love, you're going to be vulnerable. All this sort of nonsense stuff. Basically simp coping in general. But my whole premise of it, or my whole conclusion will be in this regard. At some point, you just have to accept the L. And I think at some point, especially with AKADEMIKS, he's going to have to just accept he's never going to be cool. He's never going to be cool ever. Like, money doesn't make you cool. And I think, unfortunately, for him, it's not dudes like me who don't think he's cool that matters. It's the fact that the women that he likes clearly know he's not cool. And they know that they can exploit that cool by making him feel cool by having a woman on his arm, if that makes sense. So that's who he's being exploited by the most. And it got really greasy for him because if I remember correctly in that stream, he said something like, oh, one of the girls was looking to set him up or something. So he nearly, you know, could have lost his life off the back of his tendency to mess with flipping ratchet women, which is really bizarre. But, you know, I guess out there, you know, America's a big place, so I'm assuming the ratchet girls that you have over there are probably just as attractive as some of the models. So it's probably really hard to say, hey, stop messing with flipping ratchet chicks, because they're probably really, there's probably really hot ones out there. But from what the ones I'm thinking of all look like gargoyles, but I'm sure there are some super hot ones that would, you know, tempt a lot of men out there. But I think in AKADEMIKS' position, considering who he is, and you know he's maybe lack of street smarts and whatnot and experience, he probably needs to leave those girls alone. Those girls are probably way above his flipping, not even caliber, but they're just way above his level of maybe comprehension and whatnot. I think so personally, but there's not much more to add on that one, to be fair, because it's all a bit gross. And you know, who wants to be talking about gross things here? What were you saying? Yeah, Ak is one of the biggest L's on the internet. Yeah, for sure, Uche. Andrew said, I love when you cover Ak. Big up Andrew W. Bodybuilding News says he has horrible taste in women. Go look up the chick he used to be fire extinguisher with in his apartment. Oh yeah. I know he actually had a relationship with Selena Powell. I think if you, from time you do stuff like that, you know already, like it's mad. But I don't know. I just think it's different between men and women. I think women can upgrade themselves and actually get better like mates, like actual partners, long term. Whereas I think that guys always have a cap. There's always a cap that there's just certain women you're never going to be able to hit. Doesn't matter how much work you do, they're just never going to be attracted to you. I feel like women are a little bit more like, you know, not binary, they're a little bit more, judgmental. I don't know what the word is. But I just think for some reason, guys in that manosphere, they just have this fixation. Like the guys that follow Andrew Tate and all those kind of guys, they think if they make a lot of money, they can get any woman they want. And I don't think it's like that. I don't think women just go for money. But I think in those guys' heads, they have in their heads, oh, if I have all the money in the world, I can legitimately choose any woman to fuck me. And I don't think it works that way. But, you know, I could be mistaken. Moving on from that, we gotta play this. I need to play this. We gotta. Oh, should I play this? No, let's just go. Let's go here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Yeah. So, news-wise, it's been a flipping interesting couple of days, or a couple of hours actually. Back-to-back firings, absolute crazy shit, right? First of all, Tucker Carlson get fired from fucking Fox News, and then if that wasn't enough, Don Lemon gets flipping fired from CNN. Back-to-back on either side of the political aisle, both of these big personality stars, you may call them, on their platforms getting fired. Now, the Fox News one with Tucker Carlson, again, I haven't read too much into the story, but I'm just going to go off a guess here. My feeling is this is not by chance, and this has something to do with that Dominion court case settlement thing that happened. This is what it feels like to me. They had to settle with that Dominion case with the voting machines and the fact that Fox News were peddling the conspiracy that Donald Trump won the election fair and square, and there was some sort of conspiracy about meddling with the machines that made sure that he didn't win the public vote, bloody blah, 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 or the popular vote, sorry. There's something in that, I feel like, where maybe part of the deal was that Fox News would fire somebody, you know, big and prominent so that they'd have someone to pin the blame on. So that makes me think because Tucker Carlson, for the most part, you don't really hear anything about him in Fox News in terms of bullying or harassment. It just feels a little bit, you know, the coincidence is just too much for that regard. With Don Lemon on the other side, you've heard a lot of stories about him over the years, about bullying and whatnot, about inappropriate relationships with staffers at the CNN. So this makes more sense in terms of a HR thing that they don't want to get involved with. Maybe there's some cases in the background brewing, and you know someone's going to get exposed, and CNN want to distance themselves as much as possible from Don Lemon. That'll make more sense to me. But anyway, let's read the article regardless. This is courtesy of BBC. It says Tucker Carlson leaves Fox News. It says Tucker Carlson, the highest rated cable host, credited with setting the agenda of the US conservatives, has left Fox News, the network has announced. And if I'm not mistaken, his last show was last Friday, so they didn't even get a chance for him to say bye. So this feels way more like a firing than him leaving to me. But they probably gave him the professional courtesy of leaving technically on paper. In a statement, Fox News said that Carlson had agreed to part ways. His last TV program was Friday the 21st of April. The statement added his primetime slot will now be hosted by a series of interim hosts until the permanent replacement is found. The brief 2-paragraph statement gave no reason for the abrupt decision. So when you get 2-paragraph statement when you leave after being at a place for how long? Like whatever, however many years, that's a lot. The 53-year-old was not just a popular presenter, but also a historically influential one. His shows frequently set the agenda for conservatives and by extension the Republican Party. His program offered a blend of populist conservative takes on issues ranging from immigration, crime, race, gender, and sexuality, with woke ideology becoming a frequent target. It made up for of the top 10 rated programs of US cable TV, according to Nielsen data. For the week, the 27th to the 2nd of April, he was the Fox News top-rated host with more than 3 million viewers tuning in on an average night. That's a lot of viewers that he's taken away, mate. And knowing how conservatives are and the conspiracies that will kind of spin around this, most likely whatever platform he goes on next, he's going to bring all those, you would imagine, a huge majority of those fans over there with him. So this is interesting. It continues while on the host often publicly agreed with Donald Trump, whose politics have transformed the Republican Party. He would occasionally diverge from the former president's political views. Yeah, exactly. This is why I don't understand this one, because I don't think this is to do with the Trump election. Sorry, with Trump saying that he won the election and it was rigged and stuff. I don't think this is true, because if I remember correctly, wasn't Tucker Carlson one of the only people on Fox who didn't buy the whole rigged election thing? I'm pretty sure he was one of the only people that didn't buy the rigged election thing. I'm pretty sure. What happened to my camera? Did my camera die? Did my camera die? Yeah, I think my camera died. Bear with me a sec. I think my camera might have died. Oh, Jesus. Did my camera die? Yes, it did. Okay, there we go. We're back. So, yeah. I don't think this has anything to do with Trump. I just think maybe they wanted to go in a different direction. Who knows? No Fox competitors were quick to capitalize on CARLSON's departure. One rival network, Newsmax, said it had successfully attracted viewers from Fox News in recent months, and CARLSON's departure will only fuel that trend. The announcement of CARLSON's departure comes days after Fox News settled a defamation lawsuit, the voting machines company Dominion, over the coverage of the 2020 presidential election. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, man. This is a hard one to judge. Hard one to judge. I would imagine at that kind of level of broadcasting, things like this don't happen by coincidence. The fact that both of these prominent guys got fired back to back is a bit spooky to me. It feels a little bit too coincidental. But maybe because it's Monday, new business day, it makes sense to kind of announce it now. Who knows? But the fact that this came out of the blue feels a bit weird, isn't it? But I wonder why. The Tucker one's is more confusing. The Don Lemon one makes more sense, especially if you read this article here, courtesy of Variety. No, which one's it? This one, yeah, courtesy of Variety. This article kind of makes sense. This was published on April 5th, right? It says Don Lemon's misogyny at CNN exposed, malicious texts, mocking female co-workers, and diva-like behavior. I could assume, you know, judging by what happened with Jonathan Majors, and judging by how we know how Hollywood and entertainment industry and just production companies and TVs work in general, networks and stuff, most likely a story is brewing in the background. Most likely there's a story brewing in the background with him, maybe some more serious allegations, and CNN doesn't want any of the smoke. They don't want any of the smudge on them, so they decide to just kind of, you know, push him out of the door before the stories come to light, so they don't have to comment on it. That's what it feels like to me. But with the Tucker Carlson one, that kind of comes like, that feels like it came out of like left field. No one has any sort of inkling. And again, I'm just guessing here, but what I do remember correctly is that he was one of the rare few people who said he didn't buy into Donald Trump's 2020 presidential elections rigging scam thing. He didn't really buy into that narrative. So why would he be the one being punished? Do you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense, really. Why would they punish him of all the people if he's the one that didn't really buy into it? I don't actually get that, to be honest, but who knows? Regardless, they're both out of a job. Let's see Don Lemon's one. It says here, Don Lemon says he was fired by CNN without warning. Network Plus inaccurate statement. Yeah, Don Lemon's statement was hilarious. Him crying about it made it even worse, to be fair. Just take your L and keep it moving. The crying part of it is ultra lame. Look at this. I was informed this morning by my agent that I have been terminated by CNN. I am stunned. After 17 years at CNN, I would have thought that someone in management would have had the decency to tell me directly. At no point was I ever given any indication that I would not be able to continue to do my work that I've loved at the network. I've loved it. It is clear that there are some larger issues at play. And look at him, always the victim, innit? Always the victim. Always the fucking victim. Larger issues at play. Yeah, you wish, mate. You wish you were part of some larger conspiracy, right? You wish. That'd make you to be the most important person in the world, as you clearly think you are. It is clear there are some larger issues at play. With that said, I want to thank my colleagues and the many teams I've worked with for an incredible run. They're the most talented journalists in business, and I wish them all the best. Shut up. But the rumors, from what I've heard online via the Twitter streets are saying that Don Lemon is actually with a partner. He has a long-term partner, maybe a husband, maybe. And that allegedly Don Lemon was getting freaky with some potentially, again, alleged, potentially very, very young staff at CNN. Some people are saying 19, some people are saying 17, but anywhere between 18 and 21, that person was. And Don Lemon isn't 21. He's like maybe 49, 50-ish. So the age gap is crazy. So they're saying he might have been messing with somebody, you know, being in a relationship, and that person's really young. And if I'm not mistaken, network TV, for I don't know why this is the case. Maybe it's because of professionalism, but I know that those network TV guys, they have clauses in their contract where you're not allowed to hook up with people. Why does my camera keep dying? I don't know why it keeps dying, but yeah, they have clauses in their contract where you're not allowed to hook up with people. So if he is hooking up with people, then he's gonna be in big trouble. So it's no surprise that something there happened. But for some reason my camera keeps dying even though it's plugged in and charged. This makes no sense. Bear with me a sec again. This is the greatest stream ever. Okay, it's working now. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. For some reason, my phone is going crazy, man. My phone is going crazy. My camera's not working. It's all going tits up at the moment. I'm not really too sure why, but we should be back here where we are now. Hopefully we're back. Hopefully we're back. God almighty, mate. This is an absolute shocker. This stream is a shocker. For those of you hanging in, honestly, I appreciate all of you. I really, really do. Oh my God. I don't know why you guys put up with this nonsense, mate. This is a lot. This is too much right now. This is legitimately too much. But yeah, big up those of you who do tune in and put up with it. I don't know why this is the case, but regardless, I do appreciate every single one of you. So it should be working. Is it working? Yeah, the camera's back on now, I think. Me think so. Oh, why does it keep ducking out? Weird, isn't it? What's happening right now? My camera just keeps losing all the time. Maybe did I do something wrong here? Do you guys see me? Am I moving? No, I'm not. See, it keeps ducking out. So the audio is fine, but the camera just keeps popping in and out like an absolute spurge. Mamma mia. Mamma mia. Mamma mia. Mamma mia. Yep, this keeps just popping out, doesn't it? Okay, cool. The camera's going a little bit crazy right now. I'm not really too sure why, but something bad is happening to my camera right now. Something very, very, truly bad. Oh, that's why. Maybe because the Wi-Fi is down. I think so. That might be the reason why the Wi-Fi is not really working too tough. Is that why? Yep, that's probably why. Okay, cool, man. Cool. Camera's not working. That's great, isn't it? Yeah, that's fucking amazing, don't you think? That's super. Okay, cool. Oh, man. Okay, that's cool. The camera's not working as intended, so you know what? We're just gonna go cameraless. Fuck it. Let's go cameraless for the last few minutes, and then I'll have to switch this back to working when the flipping computer's working properly. This is absolutely annoying, but let's just go cameraless for the time being. Let's just do it this way. Bloody hell, let's just do it this way. Let's just go. Let's just move. All right, let's move. Okay, so exactly, yeah. If it's a webcam vibes, yeah. Let's just go cameraless for the last few. Anyway, let's just ram this all out, and let's actually go over some of these allegations regarding Don Lemon quickly, because I think these are quite interesting, especially concerning the ones with him and some person called Nikki Haley or whatever her fucking name is. I'm like, this is no reason to fire somebody, but hey, they're gonna do what they're gonna do, right? Let me just see if I can pop it up on here. Bear with me. So, one of the other reasons why people say Don Lemon may have got fired from CNN is this article, right? Courtesy of AP News. CNN's Don Lemon regrets saying Nikki Haley's past her prime, from February. So I'm not sure why he got fired now. Maybe internal, investigations when it comes to HR at, flipping news networks take a long time to flipping get resolved. Who knows? But, I don't think this is a reason to get fired. Do you think so? Look at this, right? This is courtesy of AP News. Don Lemon startled some colleagues on CNN's morning show Thursday with the implication that the Republican president candidate Nikki Haley, age 51, was past her prime. Saying somebody's past their prime shouldn't be a sackable offense, you'd think, should it? Anyway, said Lemon was with CNN this morning. Co-host Poppy Harlow and Kathleen Collins were discussing Haley's suggestion a day earlier that politicians over the age of 75 should be subject to mandatory mental competency test. That's hilarious, man. I love Republicans in this hard line they're going on with the medical competency test when you consider some of the other people Republicans have had them, right? It says here, President Joe Biden is 80 while another GOP presidential candidate, former President Donald Trump, is 76. Exactly. Nikki Haley isn't in her prime, sorry, Lemon said, explaining why he was uncomfortable with the age discussion. When a woman is considered to be in her prime, it's in her 20s, 30s, and maybe 40s. Jesus Christ, mate. That's the most gayest, cattiest thing I've heard Dom Lemon say, right? Like, you can't really say this in a workplace, don't get me wrong, especially not in front of the camera, but this still shouldn't be enough to get you fired. It's a really catty, gay thing to say, something that you'd hear someone say at RuPaul's Drag Race or something, right? Or like whatever it may be. But really, should you be getting fired for saying this? This is actually a pretty decent discussion and topic to have, to be honest. Prime for what? Harlow replied. Lemon said that if you look up on Google, a woman is considered to be in her prime at those ages. Harlow tried to clarify what Lemon was referencing. Harlow. This one I'm trying to get him fired. I think we need to qualify. Are you talking about prime for childbearing, or are you talking about prime for being president? And then Lemon replied, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just saying what the facts are. Google it. He brought up the subject again an hour later when commentator Audie Cornish joined the discussion. Like Harlow earlier, Cornish said the idea that prime that Lemon was referring to was about reproductive ages that didn't concern mental health or aging. You see, that's the issue I have, the changing of the goalpost. Let's just say across the board in politics, let's please not have anybody over the age of flipping, 60 trying to lead the country. Please. Or maybe even 69, as Mr. Bob has kind of intimated there. And let's not make it an issue of, flipping men v women. Let's just say overall, we want our political representatives to actually be, somewhat, within a somewhat decent health mentally and physically. And maybe having them being over the age of 60 and maybe a little bit embittered and whatnot isn't the right way to go about things. Let's not turn it into a flipping men v women flipping debate and argument, because that's flipping stupid. We know what we mean. We know what we're talking about. But still, I don't think that's grounds enough to get fired. Let's go to the flipping Variety article featuring Don Lemon. It said Don Lemon misogyny at CNN exposed. Malicious text mocking females, co-workers and diva-like behavior. This is from Variety. It says back in 2008, Lemon was anchoring CNN's Live from Weekday show with Kyra Phillips, a gig that landed after he arrived at the network 2 years prior from local news in Chicago. For months, tensions between the pair kept mounting. On more than one occasion, a Live from producer and newsroom supervisor had to pull Lemon off the air during a commercial break because of the anchor's provocative antics, not unlike his recent declaration that 51-year-old Nikki Haley isn't a viable president candidate because she is in the prime. Look how they put it. They put it so black and white. They make it look way worse than what he actually said. Amid the charged atmosphere, sources say Lemon disrespected colleague Nancy Grace on air and Soledad O'Brien during an editorial meeting attended by roughly 30 staffers. So Don Lemon was running that show over there, innit? He was legitimately the little tyrant over there at CNN. But this antipathy towards Phillips was particularly concerning and had many members of the close-knit Atlanta news team on edge. While Phillips was on an assignment in Iraq, a high-profile gig that Lemon coveted, he vented his disappointment at being passed over by tearing up pictures and notes on top of and inside of Phillips's desk in a news pod they shared, according to the two sources who worked there at the time. What kind of weird intimidation tactic is that? Tearing up bits of paper and putting it on someone's desk. That's so strange. Is that some like media juju? Like, what the fuck is that? What does white piece of paper signalize on top of someone's desk? When she returned from Iraq, things only got weirder. One night while dining with members of the news team, she received the first two threatening text messages from an unknown number on her flip phone that warned, "Now you've crossed the line and you're going to pay." Don Lemon's a psycho. Phillips was visibly rattled and quickly enlisted CNN's higher-ups identified the sender. Remarkably, the texts were tracked. Oh my God. Remarkably, the texts were tracked back to Lemon, according to the same source. A human resource investigation was launched, and while the findings were never disclosed to the growing pool of staffers who were aware of the situation, Lemon was abruptly pulled from his co-anchor duties with Phillips and moved to weekends. How did he survive in the job? Do you think this is a price of flipping is this like positive privilege? Is this like the opposite of like getting fired because you're black? Like you get kept on because you're black? Is that part of the reason? Like being a black gay guy, he kind of got kept on despite being quite clearly a bit of a bully. Because how did he survive? How did he get removed from one place to the other place? This is so strange. It was a demotion by any objective measure and understood to be a kind of disciplinary action. It appears to be the last time he was paired with a female anchor until his most recent assignment with CNN's This Morning with Poppy Harlow and Kathleen Collins. Oh my God, this makes it so much worse. So he was pulled off of any, programming that involved women because he clearly had an issue with some, or maybe whatever it may be. And then years later, he again gets in another scandal with another woman that leads to him being fired. Shit. Phillips, who joined ABC as a Washington-based correspondent in 2018, declined to comment. A spokesperson for CNN said Don says the alleged incident never occurred and that he was never notified of any investigation. CNN cannot corroborate alleged incidents from 15 years ago. In the wake of Lemon's Feb 16 Haley comments derided as unacceptable and sexist by everyone from CNN chair Chris Leach to Haley herself, and even referenced by Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh during her acceptance speech, his fate at CNN hung in a balance, with many colleagues privately calling for his ouster. Wow, I would have thought he was really popular, you know. Judging by how he acts and how they act with him when he does this, what was it, the New Year's Eve thing where they drink a lot and shit on air, I just assumed he was kind of a popular figure. I know conservatives don't like him and stuff, which makes sense, but I just assumed he was popular within CNN. Despite the outcry, he landed back on his feet, and after riding the bench for 2 days, posting a Twitter mea culpa in which he insisted that he is committed to doing better and ignoring the matter altogether during his Feb 2020 air on return, still the incident has spotlighted Lemon's troubling treatment of women and unprofessional antics dating back nearly 2 decades. Honestly, think about it. If a straight dude did this, if a straight dude went on air and said a woman was past her prime in a presidential sense, or just in general in that vague sense, yo, you'd be shot in the back of the head quicker than you could say ay caramba. Let's think about it. Variety spoke with more than a dozen former and current colleagues who painted a picture of a journalist who flaunted rules and cozied up to the powers of all the while displaying open hostility to many female co-workers. He seemed to have a real issue with this is like the issue. This is like the opposite of like sexual harassment. This is him like abusing and bullying women only because he feels like he has some sort of like power dominance over them. Maybe they're easier to bully than men. I don't know. Each and every time he appeared to charm his way out of facing any meaningful consequences. So maybe his firing was completely justified. Reading this article from flipping April the 5th. Flipping now, Dom Lemon, man. You got one of the easiest jobs in the world, and you're absolutely flipping pissing it up the wall for some nonsense. But yeah, and then the last one in this article to read is Sean Hannity, clueless over Tucker Carlson Fox. He says it's very hard, but I don't own the company. You know what's funny? I'm not sure you guys have been fired, but I have a couple of times in places, right? For various reasons. But usually it's funny how quickly you realize who your actual colleague friends are. Like when stuff like that happens when you get let go at places. like who basically changes their tune on you, who washes their hands on you, who sometimes doesn't even look up as you're walking out of the fucking building. It's quite concerning. And look at Hannity, man. Hannity was blindsided by Fox News announcement that Tucker Carlson is parting ways with the network. Carlson was Fox News' most watched primetime. Hannity said, "It's very hard," he said in the radio show. My phone has been blowing up all day. The hard part for me is that I don't have a clue. I have no idea. Was it Tucker's decision? Was it Fox's? Was it mutual agreement that they had? I don't know. Yeah, just completely I don't know. Which is funny because most likely they probably had a couple of drinks the day before, right? They probably hung out in the staff room. They maybe went to lunch together. Their wives probably hung out together. Their kids might have played out together. And suddenly when someone gets fired, you don't know their kids, you don't know their name, you don't know their number. It all kind of moves on. I guess people think that because I've been here the longest, that I'd have some knowledge or understanding of what's going on. But I just don't, says Hannity. For those who ask, for those who think I should, I say to those people, I don't own the company. Oh, I love it. I love it. He's completely washed his hands of him, mate. He wants nothing to do with it. Let me get on with my job. Actually, I want to take his spot also. It's absolutely crazy. But yeah, I'm sure Tucker Carlson will be fine. You know, he'll probably handle it. He's already been making the pivot anyway to flipping podcasting and stuff. He's been appearing on people's podcasts. He has his own show that kind of feels like a podcast anyway. I'm sure Ben Shapiro's probably putting in a call to get him on board to do the Daily Wire or something. He's gonna have many offers, right? He'll have offers to live stream on Rumble and all this malarkey. But if anything, this should be a message and a clear sign for a lot of these news anchors and whatever it may be out there who think they have a job for life. You know, the world is changing, and if people like Tucker Carlson can get fired, even though he's like legitimately the star over there at Fox, and so can someone like a Don Lemon who was maybe part of the protected class, then no one out there is safe. You should all be kind of watching your flipping P's and Q's. I think so anyway, at least, because God almighty, mate, it could all go tits up for you very, 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 very quickly. What people saying in the chat, he'll be on Crowder. Tucker Carlson has that Swartzen trust fund money. He's going to be okay. Yeah, of course, he's going to be fairly okay. New partner on Steven Crowder. Oh, imagine that, Uche. Steven Crowder, Bryan, Callen, and Tucker Carlson. What a fucking lineup, mate. What a fucking lineup. Dom definitely got squeezed by senior management, yeah, for sure. But yeah, two big flipping dubs. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't the other one James Corden? Is that true? Let me double check that. I saw someone said James Corden's show got cancelled. Let's see if that's true. Yeah, it has. Oh my God, what great news, man. What an absolute piece of shit James Corden is. That's good to hear, to be fair. If anyone deserves the show to get cancelled, it's James Corden. James Corden leaving the Late Show. Okay, cool. He's leaving the Late Show. The show's not cancelled, but he's leaving it. So that's good to hear. Fuck that guy. So James Corden's show's got cancelled also. What an absolute crazy time in culture. What an absolute crazy time in culture. So yeah, that's good to hear, to be honest. He is a piece of shit, so he probably does deserve that more than anyone. And then let's move on to this, because I don't have long left. I want to just cover this with you guys. I'm sure most of you have seen, and most of you, no, I don't know if most of you are aware, but I'm a huge fan of Joey Diaz. Have been for a while, and most of it has to do with the fact that he grew up really in some crazy, you know, childhood, crazy upbringing, and his experience with drugs and alcohol and just living a life of debauchery kind of connected with me, and the way he spoke about it so openly and vulnerably, and kind of how he's been able to manage it and somewhat address it, the trials and tribulations out of the whole LA comedian pack. Even though, you know, he does embellish and maybe lie on a few of his stories, I feel like when it comes to his own personal experience and these feelings, he's one of the rare ones that actually does open up and is willing to be vulnerable and to not always depict himself as the hero of his own story. He kind of opens up his flaws and stuff, and if anything, this is why I'm interested to read a book that's due to come out soon. So I'm a big fan of the guy. But it's also not kind of surprising to a lot of people who've been listening to Joey Diaz over the years that he's changed. especially within the last couple of years, ever since he decided to move back to New Jersey and be closer to his friends and family and raise his kid there and hang out with his wife there and just kind of step away from the Hollywood, LA entertainment shuffle and also step back a bit from stand-up. He hasn't been doing stand-up as much. He's not touring as much as he is. He's not thinking about writing a special. All this sort of stuff has kind of changed him fundamentally. But one of the things that you always kind of looked forward to was Joey Diaz, you know, popping on the Joe Rogan Experience and sitting down with his with his friend from a long time in Joe Rogan and kind of just shooting the shit and connecting again and having a great time. And usually those podcasts for me were kind of good moments to kind of see where his mind's at and whatever it may be. But this recent appearance of flipping Joey Diaz on the Joe Rogan Experience really bummed me out. I'm not gonna lie. It made me really, really sad because it was quite clear that we were seeing in real time two people who have gone in completely two different directions. And it feels like Joe's kind of over the Joey Diaz relationship as it once was, or whatever it was before. He's definitely over it. And it's not the same vibe anymore. And a really good example of it is this clip that was uploaded on the Joe Rogan Experience flipping subreddit, where Joey Diaz tries to pull out a whole bag full of treats that would have gone down really well in previous iterations of the Joe Rogan Experience, and at previous times when Joe was still in LA, he would have loved this shit. They would have been giggling about it, talking about what's in the bag, how much Joey did or what was in the bag, how high it made him, blah, 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 blah. But now he's in the supposed free state of flipping Texas. He doesn't want none of that shit on him at all, and he kind of gets weirded out by it and basically shuts it down. This is kind of a sad clip, to be fair, because it shows how different they are as people now. Things have definitely changed.
See what Laughing Gas?
I'm sure Mar probably smokes before. Well, he definitely smokes on his podcast.
Does he?
Jesus Christ, Joey. What do you got there? I'm so terrified of that bag.
Bring it to the green room.
Bill Maher. Okay. Keep it in there.
This shit. And you got your own bag with the Joe Rogan Experience on it.
Thank you.
A beautiful leather bag. I got you some fucking.
I'm so excited to show you this club.
Bro, I've heard fucking. I have people that are non-comics hit me up. Non-comics.
This is just a lot of noise on the microphone.
I know, I'm trying to figure out what to get to smoke next, dog.
Let's just.
Look at this. I got bags everywhere.
Come on, we're good.
What the fuck? I need another joint.
Here.
Oh no, we got a fucking chocolate mushroom bar.
So, I'm sure, as much as Joey Diaz is laughing and smiling at it, he did kind of feel a little bit embarrassed because essentially Joe Rogan wasn't on the same time he was on. Now, somebody has said in the chat that it isn't legal over there in Texas, so maybe that could play into the reason why Joe is being a little bit, hesitant to let Joey Diaz pull out all his flipping treats and stuff in the bag. It could also be this is what Adam 22 or Adam 16 will say is bad podcasting, because essentially it's just Joey Diaz sitting in front of a microphone, rustling through a flipping bag and making sounds and whatnot. It's not the best content and whatever it may be. There is probably a reason that makes sense for it, but for a long time, Joey Diaz fan and also a fan of Rogan and also a fan of them when they get together, you just saw that they were just on two different pages a little bit with this whole interaction. It felt like Joey was happy to see his friend he hasn't seen in a while, catch up on what's been going on post-pandemic, getting back settled in, books on the way, Joe Rogan's new comedy store. Like, it should be a time where they could kind of maybe connect and shoot the shit a bit more, but it seemed like Joe wasn't really on that time in the slightest, and he was just basically on him time. And there's no better example of it than this clip, which is probably the most heartbreaking one. So usually, if you're not familiar, most Joey Diaz appearances on Joe Rogan Experience are usually like a Duncan Trussell one. They usually go on about 3 hours. This one ended about 2 hours, I think 30, which usually, if you're a fan of Joe Rogan Experience, you would know times or the length of a podcast usually dictate how good they were. So if a podcast was super short, it usually either means it was a super shit guest and Rogan wanted to get out there, or it means the person didn't have much to say, or they're just wanting to kind of be in and out. But usually it's the kind of, it's basically an indication that the guest wasn't the greatest. So for Joey Diaz to go on the Joe Rogan Experience and only be there for 2 hours and a half, was a real big indication again of how far apart they are as people. And this example towards the end of the show just broke my heart, to be fair. It really did break my heart.
Fucking kill you.
Yeah.
2 apples ain't gonna fucking kill you, you know? And
Joey, I gotta wrap this up. We gotta
Right.
get out of here.
Where you going?
Got a dinner.
We just got here.
No, it's already 4:30.
It's 4:30?
Yeah.
That's it.
Oh, man.
Fucking kill you.
Joe Rogan did what Logan Paul did to Brendan Schaub. We got to go for dinner. They go for dinner at 4 p.m. in Texas. Man, I feel so bad for Joey. I really do. I felt so bad for him, man. Like, it's not the same. And again, being somebody, like I said before in the podcast, that, you know, friendship breakups are some of the hardest things ever to deal with. They'd probably be worse than breaking up with somebody in a relationship. I honestly do think so. And this is what we are seeing in real life, in real time. And I think I said it before on another random show live stream, that I thought that the comedy mothership, I'm pretty sure I said it in a previous live stream, that the comedy mothership will be the start of a lot of Joe Rogan's new relationship will start from that comedy mothership, and a lot of relationships will die because of the comedy mothership. Obviously, they'll die for obvious reasons, because people are gonna try and have sex there. He's gonna say no. They're gonna take it personally, and it's gonna drive a wedge between him and some people, which will never be repaired. I don't think so. And there's also gonna be an opportunity for him to meet new people who he's gonna become, you know, lifelong friends with, and they're gonna be the new quote unquote rat pack, as Brendan Schaub would say. And this is what we're seeing now. Joe Rogan's got a whole new group of friends now. He's kind of replaced the other figures he had in LA with these new guys, and there's been really little to no changeover. If you didn't move over with him the time that he moved over to Texas, you're not going to be in that clique. That's what it's kind of feeling like. Exactly, as Sleeping Buddha will say, he's got no use for Joey now. So, yeah, and again, Uche's podcast is falling apart, and this maybe is another indication that there is, maybe you guys in the chat can maybe ascribe to this. I feel like I'm listening to less and less of these comedy podcasts. I've got the ones I do listen to all the time, but I'm not like casually checking out stuff here and there. Before, I just check out things here and there, random shows, but I'm not checking them out as much as before. Sometimes I even skip episodes because I'm just not bothered. So I'm sure that maybe goes to it. I've seen some people on the subreddit say a lot of them think Rogan eventually will end up just quitting the podcast and focusing completely on the comedy club. I wouldn't be surprised, to be fair, because if you know anything about Rogan, you know he's regardless of what you think about his comedy, he's a real student of the game. He loves stand-up comedy. He really loves stand-up comedy. And he's now doing what he's wanted to always do completely full time, and he doesn't have to be worried about making any more money because he's got loads of money from the Spotify deal. So it gives him a bit of a cushion to have some fun and do the things he actually wants to do. And maybe what he actually wants to do day to day is operate and run that club. Why not? If you're an actual stand-up comedian, it's gonna be a lot more fun than doing podcasts every time talking about the same old top topics. And especially the older that he gets, he's getting more bitter and more grumpy and shit, maybe more set in his ways, which probably doesn't make for the funnest podcast, because before, what made Rogan really cool was that he was super curious, really open to everything, really. But now he's kind of dead set in his ways a little bit. So maybe that's a fact. But if anything, what we do know looking at this episode is that we witnessed in real time the flipping ends of flipping Joe Rogan and Joey Diaz's relationship. They could probably say something different. I'm sure they're going to come out. Rogan's probably going to come out and say, oh, I love Joey, he's my guy. They're going to try and spin it. But we see what we saw. On previous occasions, when Joey would come down, he'd always clear his schedule, or he'd make an effort to, so he could sit down with his long-time friend and have a real powwow, especially considering how far apart they live and stuff. But yeah, in real time, we're noticing the flipping ends of it. We're noticing it literally in real time. So you kind of got a feel for Joey, because he really respects Joe Rogan a lot as a human, as a person and stuff. And he really looks forward to their chats when they do go over there. But it looks like Joe Rogan doesn't give a single fuck, it looks like. Unfortunately, he's got his new friends now, his new shiny toys, and unfortunately, Joe Diaz isn't a part of one of those new shiny toys. Unfortunately, unbloody fortunately. Anyways, oh my god, is my camera still not working? Because yeah, I might have to end it now. Unfortunately, my friends, it's now only 5 a.m. here, and I've wasted so much time with these tech issues. Yeah, see, the camera's not working really well because the internet's kind of a bit fucked up. Oh, I fucking love it. Look at me, I look so weird. Oh, Jesus Christos. Imagine I have to keep streaming with this black screen here. This is gonna be really, really fun, isn't it? Fun. Black screen streams. The black. But yeah, I will actually have to. Let me see if I can get what else I got here. Oh yeah, let's watch this actually before I leave. Let's watch this. Have you guys seen this? So this is there's a trailer here for the Wings and Boogie fight that's meant to be happening very, very soon. It's in the Wembley Arena. Okay, cool. I might have to go check that out. Maybe I might have to go check that out. Let's see this. Wings is boxing, flipping Boogie, and they put together a flipping trailer for it. Let's see what this is saying. This is going to be quite interesting to see. I might have to go see this in real life, actually. Wings of Redemption v Boogie 2998. 800 pounds, one ring trailer. That's a really good. Big up Keemstar. 800 pounds, one ring. Hilarious. Is that what Wings' house looks like? It looks a lot better than on the outside than I thought it would look like. I don't know why I thought it would look like a flipping, like a dumpster. Because they always call it a mobile home. But it looks pretty decent for a mobile home. Right? It's all one floor. So if you're fat, you have to walk upstairs and shit. Decent. The home of Wings Redemption. Fayetteville, Arkansas. The home of Boogie 2988. He's got 3 cars in the driveway. Fucking hell, Boogie. Yeah, peace, Crash. Take care, brother. Let's play that again. Look at Wings and Jabs. Wow, Wings is quite flexible for somebody that fat, isn't it? Huh? He's in full squat with his heels on the floor. Jesus Christ. He's way more flexible than I am. The amount of work I have to do to get myself in that position, prep-wise. Opening up my hip flexors and my ankles and stuff to get myself in this position. And he's just doing it like on the whim. Fuck me. He's oddly flexible for somebody that big. Look at that. He's actually in a full squat. Knees out, toes pointed slightly forward, flat feet, not on his heels. That's pretty decent. That's pretty decent.
What? The history with me is I didn't show up to the camping trip, which I've showed up to everything else. I've always put it this way. I literally flew to Mexico.
This guy's in his mid-30s, isn't it? Streaming online is fucking stressful for some people. Jesus Christ, bro. Look at that. He looks like a 40-year-old man or more. He's like in his mid-30s, I think so, if I'm not mistaken.
And paid a man that doesn't speak English to cut my stomach out.
You could do more damage to that back, and that back is barely...
Why have they all got little pets in their hands? Is this like a YouTuber thing, streamer thing to be happy, make people sympathetic or empathetic to you or whatever that fucking word is? Like, what's going on here? They all have these little dogs on their flipping laps or on their stomachs.
Holding on, you could end up having a stroke or heart attack. You get punched in the chest. You can create a clot. There's all kinds of things that can happen here. Why are you doing this? And the reason I'm doing this is because it is dangerous, right? Like, that's the thing that I've always been afraid of, man.
Yeah, trying to rah. You're just doing it because you need the money, man, and you love the attention. Shut up.
We were doing pad work with him. He's put in the work.
Also, Keem.
Wings isn't flexible. He just fell down and can't get up.
No, that was flexible, Uche. That's a proper squat. He's got his back straight and shit. Like, this guy looked good. That was a squat. That is a squat to me. Well, I'm rubbing along the flipping timeline. That looks like a fucking squat. He's sat. That's perfect squat form. I know, because I love doing a good old air squat. I love doing back squats and stuff in the gym. That's really good form. Actually, oddly enough, annoyingly so. But yeah, that'll be hilarious. He flipping dropped a Pepsi and then he couldn't find it, so he just sat there. Also, Keemstar, change this beard design, please. This pointy beard thing is horrendous.
Like, he's hitting the pads hard. Pads hard, he basically says it doesn't matter, he's knocking you off.
Oh. With what? I mean, like, the dude's got...
Also, why doesn't Keem box somebody? Why isn't Keem boxing somebody? Who hates Keemstar out there? Oh, Ethan. Yeah, why don't Ethan Klein and Keemstar fight? That would be a good one. I'd watch that. That would be really good.
Yeah, arthritis in his fucking hips.
What is all this?
This is my haunted house stuff. You see this out every year, man.
Last as long and was as strong as that chair. What are you on Pornhub or something?
Jesus Christ, man. Look at these guys.
No, man. I'm checking Twitter. You know me.
It's like, I don't care if the YouTube thing works out or not. Like, honestly, it was great. The good experience of life, I wouldn't change it.
What the fuck is that shit on his head? Is that a rash? Sunburn?
But if I have to move on and do something else, it is what it is.
I'll be honest with you, one of the things I'm fighting for here is this collection. I don't want to lose some of the cool shit that I have.
Ladies and gentlemen, Drama Alerts and Happy Punch presents Boogie 2988, Wings of Redemption.
800 pounds, one ring. This is the weirdest boxing fight I've ever seen in my life, because they neither have made any effort to lose weight. Neither have made any effort to hire an actual professional boxing trainer of any way, shape or form. They're both attempting to learn how to box on their own in their homes. They're both chronically, fucking lazy. They're both incredibly overweight, lack motivation to do anything. So they're now suddenly having to motivate themselves to train for a boxing fight adequately. Like, this is going to be a horror. Boogie can just about move. Right? He looks like he might need to be on the flipping walk. He might have to have one of those flipping assisted walking chair things very soon. Just because of the way his legs are, I don't know, he just stands really strange. He's always like flat-footed. He looks like he's always in pain. Wings is probably not that dissimilar. This is going to be an absolute shit show. Like, legitimate shit show. Like, but I'm just, again, none of them has hired anybody to actually help them flipping with the boxing. They're just teaching themselves through what? YouTube? Is that what they're both doing? Like, what's going on here, man? Like, what are we doing here? Like, no one's got any training. Like, for all the money they both make, they couldn't afford a couple of trainers to come out and flipping train them a bit. They're just doing their shit in their garden, hoping for the best. Look at this shit. Oh, mate, I don't know, man. Look at this. Oh, what a sad existence, man. But anyway, big up them. Hopefully it works out for them and whatnot. Hopefully it works out. Anyways, this is the end for me, unfortunately, my friends. Hopefully you have enjoyed. This has not been the best stream in the world. Loads of tech issues here and there. As you can see, the tech issues continue. If you're watching this, it's a complete black screen. If you're listening, you won't have a scoop of what I'm talking about. But it's been a bit of a mare. It's been a bit of a nightmare, but it is what it is. We will, we will try and make things right the next stream and try and put our best foot forward before that. Or no, I will try and put my best foot forward because I'm the one that fucked it up, not you guys. And then they'll come back better and stronger. Come back better and stronger. But yeah, thank you so much for those of you that tuned in. I appreciate you for sticking by me. And then I'll see you guys again on the next one, innit? I'll see you on the next one. Big up the stream. Big up Tom. Big up Uche. Big up 7 Dirty. Big up Mr. Who's this? Mr. Bob. Big up MMA Johnny. Shades Cal. Sleeping Buddha. Everybody that's in there tuning in. I appreciate you all. I'll see you all very, very soon again. Take care. Peace.